up, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Essence of Lex. Thank you for joining me again on my bloom journey. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. If you clicked on this video, I already know what you want to talk about. Sistas Season 5, Episode 8, called Push to the Limit. And with the title being called Push to the Limit, we're going to go ahead and get started with Dani, because I think Dani was pushed to her limit. And we're going to talk about it. At the end of the last episode, we know that Jonah slapped her. So we're picking up off where we left off. He's calling her out her name. He called her out her name a few times, and he spit on her. So Danny tried to run and grab a knife, but he caught up with her, slammed her to the floor. He's on top of her. He's choking her, and something like, "You lucky it's me, because if it was anybody else, you would be dead." Then he gets up off her and walks out the door. Danny follows behind him as he's walking out of her apartment. Runs up to him, hit him in the back. He pushes her off her. She falls to the ground. So as she's getting up from the ground, she picks up like this pole or this stick. It has to be a pole. She picks up this like pole. So she starts hitting him with the pole. He gets in the car. Then she busting the windows out on the car, hitting the car, just releasing it all. And she didn't stop there. She drives her car into his car while he was trying to drive away. Let's talk about this scene quickly. First of all, applaud Mignon. She bodied that scene. She acted her ass off in that scene. Seen memes and stuff going around that it reminded people of Angela Bassett in Waiting to Exhale. But Mignon bodied that scene. She definitely bodied that scene. If I knew how to, add the round of applause in my video, I would. But let's get into it. First thing I want to say about this is that I think Danny has experienced some type of abuse before. Because when he first hit her, she said something like, "Not again." So I think that she has experienced some abuse before. And I'm leaning toward physical abuse, but it could be a combination of a lot of things. But I think that she has experienced that before. And I think for that reason, on top of everything that just had happened in her apartment, I think Danny snapped. She lost it. Rightfully so. Some people like to think that Danny went too far, and I honestly don't agree with that. There's no such thing as too far when it comes to certain things. And abuse, any type of abuse, is one of those things, in my opinion. When I hear, people saying that Danny went too far, to me, what I'm hearing is that, a person can do all sort of types of things to you. A person can disrespect you. A person can spit on you, which is scum behavior. That is the worst thing that a person can do, is spit on you. Terrible. So when I hear certain people say that she went too far, to me it's basically my reaction is wrong because of what you did to me. It's along the lines of, people want to blame you for your reaction, but never want to take accountability for what they did. You disrespected me several times, but my reaction can only be to a certain limit. People always want to, go around saying how you reacted, but never want to talk about what caused my reaction. So I do not think that Danny went too far. The situation was what it was, and she snapped. She temporarily loses it, and now he's dead. Danny shows up to the law firm because she needs a lawyer. So she shows up to the law firm, and they ended the episode basically with Danny telling Andi that she killed him and she needs a lawyer. Now, I went back and watched this twice, and I don't think that he's dead. One, because he's probably severely hurt, but I don't think he's dead. One, and I say that for two reasons. One, if you go back and rewatch it, as she was driving her car up to hit his car, it's like he was trying to get out on the other side. He was trying to get out on the passenger side. So, less of an impact on him. That's one. Two, I don't think Tyler Perry would go that route of having Danny kill him. And sometimes I just don't have reasons for the things that I think, but I don't think Tyler would have taken, Danny's character that way. Of course, we'll have to see what happens in the next episode, but I don't think he's dead. There's this scene where Robin tried to talk to Andi, and basically Andi wasn't having it. She shut it down from jump. And I was saying to myself, towards the end of this episode, Andi, you might gotta talk to Robin. We might need his help for Sabrina and Danny. Like, we gotta get Danny and Sabrina out now. So we're gonna need Robin help. We're gonna need all of the strings he can pull. We're gonna need it. We're gonna have to, and we're gonna have to put your feelings aside for this right here. We gotta get our sisters out of jail. Saying that Danny went too far could kind of be seen as, blaming the victim and not acknowledging what the abuser did. That's my little spiel on the Danny situation. I really hope that he's not dead. Just because I don't want, Danny to have to go to jail and go to trial and go through defending herself. I really don't want to do that. Also, too, another reason why I don't think he's dead is this. Danny showed up to the law firm in her work uniform. She had on a robe or something that night. So, again, it's so many questions, which leads me again back to my original thought that, he's not dead. Because did she go back into her house and, get ready for work and then head over to the law firm and see Andi? Or, she left the scene, but there was nobody around to hear this commotion or anything like that. The police didn't come. Like, all of that, I have questions about, which is, like I said, it's leading me into he's not dead. But we'll see how the next episode go. I just really don't see Tyler Perry writing that into the script. Speaking of Robin, Robin finds out that Hayden sent the email to him about Andi sleeping with Paris. So he wants to talk to Hayden. He invites Hayden into the office or whatever. Of course, Hayden denied it at first, but then he eventually told on himself and admitted to sending that email on some he was trying to look out for a Robin type thing. I thought it was 3 strikes, you're out. That's the logic, right? When you're getting 3 strikes, you're out. In baseball, 3 strikes is out. So I'm a little confused as to why Hayden is still there. Because Robin told him that, 3 strikes, you're out. Why is he still there then, Robin? He has definitely exceeded 3 strikes. 3 strikes is out. 3 outs. It's time for the other team to hit. He's been out. We're at the bottom of the 9th inning. He has gotten his 3 strikes and he has gotten his 3 outs. It's time for somebody to take care of Hayden. I don't know if it's going to be Robin, if it's going to be Fatima, if it's going to be Madam, if it's going to be Zach, if it's going to be Andi, if it's going to be Gary. I don't care who it is. I really don't. I just want somebody to take care of him. Because Hayden thinks that he's valuable. Hayden thinks that, he indestructible. And somebody needs to destroy him. Somebody needs to destroy him. And when that happened and whenever that episode comes, I'm going to jump for joy. Because speaking on behalf of the Sistas fans, we are tired of Hayden. Yes, we are. Let's get into Zatima of this episode. Zatima had a small scene in this episode. And I just want to point out this. I noticed that on Twitter and I think even on Instagram, a lot of people were saying that, we didn't get enough Zatima this episode. I just want to say this and make people aware of this just in case they're not aware or just in case they are aware and they still just don't care. But the show is called Sistas. And I think it's centered around Andi and her life and her group of friends. Basically, the show is not called Zatima. We love Zatima. That's why they got their spinoff. Get all of them on the Zatima. But the show is called Sistas for a reason. And every episode is not going to be based around Zatima and their drama and their relationship or whatever the case may be. We love Zatima. We do. But the show is called Sistas for a reason. So as the episodes continue to go on, seasons continue to go on. I just want people to be aware of that. We're watching Sistas. We're not going to get Zatima every second, every minute of each episode. That's not realistic. But let's get into this scene. Overall, I think the scene was pointless, and not on some, that we didn't need to see them, because we know that's not true. We always want to see them. But the scene made no sense to me, and I'm going to tell you why. So, in the last episode, after they left Karen or whatever, they in bed, they had a whole conversation about Karen and what Fatima heard and all of that. They had a whole conversation. She told Zach, relationships are investments. She told Zach that, he was the shit. Like, they had a conversation. They had a conversation about the night, and I thought everything was good. I thought they had a good conversation, and that was just going to be the end of that for now. But, according to Zach, no. The next morning they wake up or whatever, and Zach asked Fatima, do she want to talk about Karen? And I'm just like, no, we don't want to talk about Karen, Zach. We don't want to talk about Karen, Zach. And it's crazy because a few episodes ago, you were saying that she was the one bringing up Karen. Now you keep bringing up Karen. Like, no. Why do we have to keep talking about Karen? What else is it to talk about at this point? Zach, why do we have to talk about Karen before she goes to work at that? Maybe it'll come out in future episodes, but right now, that whole waking up wanting to talk about Karen after we just talked about Karen last night, I think was pointless. I don't think it was needed. But it happened. That's how Tyler Perry wrote it. So we're just going to go ahead and analyze it a little bit. Zach wants to talk. So Fatima let him talk. Zach basically told him that, he knows that, hearing all that stuff from Karen, that it makes him look like an asshole. And Fatima told him that you're not. Again, uplifting him and just telling him and just, speaking power into him. And then he went on to say that he wants her to be comfortable, more comfortable. So he wants to take her out on a date or whatever. So we already know that Zatima and Sister is not, they are obviously on two different, times. So we know that Sistas and Zatima is not matching up. The shows are not crossing over perfectly like we thought it would. So maybe, this is the moment where it's going to kind of sort of put both shows on the same timeline, I'm guessing. I'm not sure. But Zach wants to take her out on a date. So immediately, me and other people, assume that, this is the date where he asks Fatima to marry him. So we are thinking this is Tyler Perry's way to kind of put the timelines together on both shows. So I'm interested to see how Tyler Perry merged the two shows. So it's going to be one of three things. One, are we going to get two proposals? Will Zach, propose again? Or the next question would be, will Tyler Perry just kind of show the proposal that we saw on Zatima on Sistas? Or lastly, it would kind of be to where he just kind of just brought up. Or lastly, will Fatima just, pop up and start wearing her ring? We don't know, but we are assuming that, this is Tyler Perry's way of merging the two timelines on the shows. But I guess we'll have to see as the season continue on. But right now, the timeline just gives me a headache, and I don't even want to go down that road again. But hopefully this is Tyler Perry's way of trying to, clear up the timeline questions that we have, because it's not making sense. It's not making sense at all. Tima asked him, so what did she say? I think she said, so what you want to take me on a date for type thing. And Zach said, well, I'm your man. I don't have to have a reason to take you out on a date. And I 100% agree with him. Fatima is stubborn. So I want Zach next time to tell her, hey, this day, this time, be ready, no question asked. Just take her, don't ask her. Zach was like, what I got to make up for it. And the first thing that came to my mind, well, don't think you necessarily have to make up for anything, but you didn't handle what you say you was going to handle the night before. But I don't think that's something you have to necessarily make up for. But I see both of their points. I definitely don't think that Zach needs to make up for anything to take her out on a date. Hell, they need to go on dates more. They need some alone time. They need to go on dates more. They need a vacation from people. You just need to go on a vacation at this point. Just go on a vacation and spend time with each other. Because, man, in Atlanta is stressing Zatima out. It really is. So, there's been this debate. Well, not debate, just different people, you know, giving their opinion on Fatima needing to be more open and that she basically needs to open up more to Zach. And I just want to talk about that for a little bit. Fatima is stubborn. Fatima is guarded. That's a fact. But I don't think that, you know, it's like imperative that she opens up more right now. And I could be biased. I could be biased because I am naturally a guarded person, and it takes a lot for me to open up as well. So, you know, I could be biased. Just putting it out there. I'm naturally a closed out person. So because I'm naturally a closed out person, you know, I even, you know, just took my viewpoint on certain stuff out of it. So I basically stepped outside of myself to kind of give my opinion on this situation and what has happened in Sistas / Zatima so far that we know of. And, you know, even with stepping outside myself, my opinion is still the same. Don't think that it's imperative that she opens up right now. I don't see anything wrong with her, you know, still being a little guarded. And I say that to say this because looking at it from Fatima and Zach's perspective and from what has happened on the shows, and I think a lot of people are getting confused with the fact that Zach is so open and honest and, you know, his guard is not up. And I think what people are not realizing or failing to realizing, or, you know, they might even realize it but just don't think it plays a part. But I think it plays a big part that, you know, Zach is so open and honest because this is stuff that they're dealing with. You know, he has to be honest about, you know, his relationship with Karen. He has to be honest about his past. He has to be honest about, you know, his ways. He has to be honest about all of those things because these are things that they are dealing with right now and that they are confronting right now and that, you know, people are confronting them with, you know, which is basically his past. So he has to be a little bit more open and honest about his situation. And Fatima is not having all of this from her past come up, at least not yet, which I think it will at some point. You know, Fatima past right now is not, you know, the center of their issues right now. So that's why I think it's not imperative that she's open up and loosen her guards up a little bit. And also I want to point out this too. If you go back to season 2, if you kind of analyze Fatima before she found out about Zach sleeping with Karen, and if you kind of analyze her after, you'll see that not guarded Fatima, and then after the fact it was guarded Fatima. And I say that to say this, that if Zach hadn't went back and slept with Karen, he would have got a not so guarded Fatima. Yes, I understand that, you know, they wasn't officially together and that, you know, they hadn't committed to each other. I understand that. I get that. And this is, I'm not saying that Zach is wrong for, you know, for doing that. But what I am saying is that, you know, because he made a decision to go back and sleep with Karen, whether, you know, it was something he planned on or not, it still happened. Now he has to deal with a guarded Fatima. Because, you know, before Fatima found out about him sleeping with Karen, you know, Fatima guard was down. It was all the way down. And, you know, she was ready to give him the keys to her place and everything, which in fact, I think she did give him the keys to her place. She wanted him to move in with her and all of that. So I say that to say, you know, her guard initially was down, you know, and we have to give her credit for that. But because of his decision, you know, her guard went back up and then it went back down. And I don't want to say that her guard is completely up, because I don't believe that. You know, she's truly in love with Zach. It's just that, you know, she might not express it the way that Zach expresses it. So it comes off. So sometimes it can come off as her, you know, still being guarded. I think still being like completely guarded. And I don't think that she's completely guarded. I think that, you know, there's a lot going on with them. And in order for her to not like completely spaz, she acts tough and acts like she's okay. And, you know, there's this fence up with her. I don't think that if she doesn't open up right now that it's going to like break their relationship. No. I think that she's okay with how she's feeling and how she's dealing with things. I know that, like I said, I can't be biased because I'm naturally a closed off person. But, you know, even when I stepped outside myself and I'm looking at the facts of what we have seen in both shows, I think, you know, she's okay right now. You're not going to find out everything you know about the person within a few months. That's crazy. Some stuff has to reveal itself naturally. He has her reasons for being guarded. And I think that Zach he's breaking that fence down piece by piece, you know. So it comes off that Zach is more open than Fatima, but really, I think that Zach has to be, just because of the situation that they're in right now. That's my viewpoint. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that Fatima should open up more and not being so closed off when it comes to Zach, or do you think that as of now or right now, you think that her being closed off is okay? Let me know down below in the comment. Yeah, so let's talk about Andi and Gary. Gary spent the night with Andi at the penthouse. And so they wake up the next morning or whatever. And Gary is trying to, you know, push his way back into being Andi's man, fiance, or whatever his end goal is. You know, he mentioned something about, you know, leaving clothes at her place, and all of that. And then we are still, Andi stayed firm in that, you know, she wanted him to leave and that basically he couldn't be there without her being there. She stayed firm in that, but she's not staying firm in, you know, not dealing with him at all. And, you know, I know she has her reasons or whatnot, but I just don't understand why she still has this penthouse and this car. I really don't. And I'm going to keep saying this. Andi is not broke. Andi has money. Not even to mention the type of career that Andi has. Andi won like $1 million. What was it, like? I can't remember the exact amount, but it was like at least $2 million lawsuit. So I'm not understanding why she wants to keep this penthouse and this car. I'm not understanding why she's not making steps into, you know, either finding her somewhere else to go and giving him the keys back to the penthouse and the car. But, you know, I think I want her to give it back just so there is no misconstrued, you know, feelings on either part. I don't want Gary to think that because she still has this penthouse and this car that, you know, she belongs to him. And that's kind of what I'm getting from that. So I really want Andi to give back the car in the penthouse, but we'll see. Gary mentioned something about he has changed, and I just want to say this. The type of change that needed to happen for Gary, it doesn't happen that quickly. I don't think he has changed, number one. Two, he could be putting on the front until he officially, or until they are officially back together, and then he can revert back to the old Gary. So it's a little too soon to say whether or not Gary has changed, because just a couple of days ago, in TP's time, you was trying to sue her for the penthouse in the car. So, Gary is a little too early to say if you've changed or not. Andi don't trust it, and I hope Andi don't fall back into, you know, his ways. It's one thing to, you know, keep going back to him because of the sex is good or whatever, but it's another if you misconstrued the two. So Gary goes and get into the shower and whatnot, and Andi is going through the papers again. What I don't like is this is her second time trying to read these papers and trying to figure out what he's up to. And my thing is this, she's sneaking and doing it, but Andi is a lawyer. Why didn't she take pictures? Like, forget reading it and trying to understand what he's trying to do. Take your phone out and take pictures of the paper and go back to it later so you can have more time to try to dissect it and figure out what his plan is. But you are in a rush and you're sneaking and trying to read these papers. You don't have that much time. Sometimes I question whether or not Andi is a lawyer. I really do. That's all I got to say about this episode. A lot of lingering questions that I hope we get answered in episode 9. And speaking of episode 9 is Sistas' 100th episode. So in honor of their 100th episode, I'm gonna do my review and my recap of this episode a little differently. I'm probably gonna try to do a mukbang for episode 9, so y'all stay tuned for that. You know, give you a different scenery, a different vibe, and we're just gonna talk about what happens in episode 9. But definitely be on the lookout for something a little different, just to show the cast, you know, the queens and the kings of the show, that, you know, we truly appreciate the art that they bring to the TV every Wednesday. So what did you think about episode 8? Leave it down in the comments below. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a chat, a respectful discussion. You know, we can have two different opinions and respectfully agree to disagree. I'll see y'all in the next video.